welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Pregame Show, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbookies for DNVR. Sign up for a new account. Rudo, Blais, AJ coming at you live. Talking Avs Flyers. A lot of good news for the Avs tonight. A lot of bad news for the Flyers lately. We'll get into both here a little bit, but let's start with the Avs side of things. Good news, Avs getting Kadri and Makar back tonight.
Yeah, that helps.
Definitely, you're a better team with those two in the lineup. I don't think there's any argument against that.
Yeah, well, it sets you up to have 4 true centers.
Yep.
Down to kind of driving each line and kind of providing an identity.
Instead of YOLOing Miko and just kind of dealing with it.
Well, and not just that, but then you're splitting up your top line, which is, as we've repeatedly seen, that line is just at its best when it's together. You just leave it. Every time he's tried to tinker with it, every time he's tried to break it up, there have been some successes, but ultimately, better together. Just leave them be.
And getting Kadri back obviously makes that second line deadly again.
Yeah, and given the form that he's had this year, it's, you're nasty.
Yep.
And then Alex Newhook is proving himself to be a completely viable option at 3C.
Yep.
They moved Tyson Jost down to 4C, which I think is probably the smart play there. Put him there and let him help triage some of the problems that line has been
it's been bleeding pretty badly.
Yeah, and it worked last game because if you go and you look at the shot metrics, that line did not bleed out chances the way that it had been. That line, there were
the two of them.
Yeah, exactly. The rotation of line mates that they had. So they really I like that setup. I like that lineup, and ultimately, even if I say that and they end up with Jason Megna back at center and Tyson Jost next to Newhook and Abe Kubel again, we've seen that top 9
function,
be very successful.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I think either way, whichever decision that they end up going in that alignment, and we know that they like to make a lot of changes in game depending on how things are going. But there were no bad choices there.
I mean,
I like all of that.
Newhook and Abe Kubel have been kind of what the Avs have been looking for, right? They're providing the depth scoring right now with JT Compher out. So
Yeah,
if you keep those guys
Absolutely,
functioning, you're feeling pretty good about the depth on the
and
whole.
they're hit or miss in the analytics and
Sure.
and the shot metrics and stuff, but you'll take the variance that they're providing right now with the production.
Yep.
Yeah, that's like bottom 6 guys, right?
Exactly.
A little streaky, but they provide that little, if they're on, they're on.
We always
it.
talk about it. Look, if they were dominating every single night, they'd be in your top 6.
Yep.
So, you look at Val Nichushkin as a great example of that. He's spent 2 years dominating third lines. Now he's in the top 6 and he's still just rolling right along.
Well,
So
Kadri kind of played that role in Toronto too. Like he wanted to break into that top 6, but he was the 3C there for the longest time.
He went from 1C where he was overmatched to 3C where you're just like, this isn't even fair. And now in Colorado, he's like perfectly cast as what he needs, as what he should be.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it. Also, as Chad has already talked about, Justus Annunen getting his first official start. I'm cool with it. I'm
excited about it.
Should we just ignore why this didn't happen earlier? But
It doesn't. What's done is done. I'm good. Look. You're in the. You're in the room that you're in, right?
Yep.
So you face the game, the schedule, all of that you face, and hey, maybe in a funny way, the way that he played against Ottawa, in a relief opportunity, gave Bednar the confidence to say, screw it.
Yeah.
I do think that it's funny, all the hand-wringing, all the people last week who were like, I think that management and coaching staff knows better than you how to handle his development. And now he's starting 3 days later, 4 days later, whatever, and it's just like, oh, what changed in his development?
Right.
It's...
I will say he brings that like calm presence to the net as well. Like he's not one of those guys that makes
of
that
a scrambler.
Yeah. He seems
not...
like he's always squared up to the puck. I mean, he will get beat here and there, but I mean, like goalies do. But
stylistically, much more Philip Grubauer than Darcy Kemper.
Sure. Yep,
definitely.
Yeah,
And
he's very technically sound and
get square to stuff and
boring
let it
to
hit
watch.
you.
Yeah.
when he's on, you're not gonna be like, oh my God, this guy's a wall. It's just gonna be like, oops, swallowed another one.
Yeah,
okay,
I think everyone that follows Avs will take that for a little bit right now.
any amount of stability.
The boring game back there, sure, why not?
Yeah. So Colorado's lineup. That's back. I genuinely have no idea what Philadelphia's lineup is, but the news of the day being that they fired their head coach.
Just real quick before we get to that, Bowen Byram sent home as well.
Oh, yeah. Post-concussion syndrome.
Is the assumption, yeah.
It's not a concussion, but it's a head injury.
What else can
Bednar?
Is the guy bleeding from his head? Or
I mean, it could be the guy could be having migraine problems,
which is PCS too, really. But
which is one of the
So
you have no idea. It's kind of just like, this sucks. We don't really know what's going on with him. He's obviously, just given the fact that he's on the ice and off the ice and on the ice and off the ice, he's not having a good time. Just sending him home is fine.
Yes,
I think it's probably better than continuing to just watch him yo-yo in and out, because you want that, like, your practice time during season is very limited.
Yeah.
And you really want to focus it on the guys who you think have a serious chance to play for you. Which is why Comfort getting a full run with the team today was kind of odd for a morning skate, because they canceled practice yesterday.
Yep.
So I expect them that they will practice tomorrow. I would have expected Comfort to join the team then. For him to go full bore, full contact at practice during a morning skate, I thought was odd. But I mean, this is like the ultimate nitpick. It's not even a criticism.
Bottle at that point.
Not even a criticism. Just sort of something that I was like, okay.
All right, so there's that. Darcy Kemper is taking shots again, so he'll be back soon, but no official timeline on that. On the Philadelphia side, they played last night. They got murdered by the Tampa Bay Lightning to the
Brazil, didn't they?
Yeah. It was a 7-1er that just finally pushed the franchise to hit the restart button on perhaps their entire organization. Head coach gone, I believe. It was a GM or vice president gone too.
Assistant coach.
Yeah,
assistant coach is gone too.
Yeah, it was Alain Vigneault and Michel Therrien.
Okay,
are both gone off the bench.
And then so Mike Yeo is their head coach.
Yeah, Mike Yeo is the interim,
and they're a team that has started the season in shambles. Beyond just this, they've not played well. For the first portion
oddly enough, the ultimate irony is that Carter Hart, after last year, where it was like, oh God, is Carter Hart actually bad? Like, what happened here? Carter Hart has kind of been their saving grace at this point, but got pulled last night. So it's kind of a question of, are you going to give him the start tonight? Do you run Martin Jones out there?
Please run Martin Jones.
Martin Jones beat the Avs in a 7-game series once upon a time.
That was a long time ago.
It definitely felt like another lifetime ago. But it's Carter Hart has been one of the only redeeming qualities of a team, a Flyers team that weirdly just can't score.
Their offense is like, I don't understand how it's as bad as it is.
I mean, you roll down their lineup of guys like JVR and Couturier and Giroux and Travis Konechny and on and on and on. Like Cam Atkinson is there. Like there's a lot of guys there that can
King
score.
Pigeon JVR,
and they're just not like they're not putting up any. And maybe Colorado's Olay of a goaltending situation right now is the perfect tonic for an anemic offense, but at the same time, the Avs offense over the last month has won them plenty of games.
Yeah.
Even despite the fact that their goaltending just hasn't been great.
I mean, Claude's been playing pretty well for them. That's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wanted to sneak into into Colorado's locker room and just go with them to New York, we'll allow it.
Best I can do is a 3rd-round pick.
Just swap gingers and don't tell anybody.
They won't
Just
notice.
don't tell anybody that Confer stays in Philly and Giroux comes in Colorado.
Yeah.
And they just wear each other's jerseys. It's fine.
JT Confer back in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, exactly. And you're just like, wow, JT Confer all of a sudden has a... Dude, he's really good.
Where did that sick flow come from, JT? What's going on?
Just, yeah, that's what you want to do, man. Just swap.
All right. We'll save our judgments for what it means for the post game, and we don't have to play it here, but to sum up chaos in Philadelphia, a dog took a dump at center ice today at the rink.
Yeah.
When things aren't going right, things aren't going right. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, the person skating at the time was Confer. And like Confer's skating around the ice and he comes to like talk to the police and the dog's just like, well, guess I'm pooping.
Yeah, when you got to go, you got to go.
Yeah, I guess. I guess. Yeah. So Philly in a weird spot. People have already been asking me this. Let me ask you two. Blais, are you a believer in the new coach bump?
No, not from like a statistical standpoint because I think it's like the last 12 mid-season coach changes. They're 4-8
for their first game.
Yep, for the first game back.
Oh yeah, so the new coach bump. This is
Yeah.
a fun thing.
Yeah,
because that thing is super real. First game, maybe not so much, especially when they make the change the day of the game.
Yeah.
The same day.
Like, because it's like, okay, so what does Mike Yeo do? Because if Mike Yeo is going to try and reinstall a bunch of new systems and stuff, it's not happening at morning skate. It's just not going to happen today. Like he might slowly. Hey, here's a couple of things that I want us to change and focus immediately. But like and most systems aren't so different that they require like an overhaul,
complete redo. Yeah.
But we've known like Mike Yeo it's a very defensive and low scoring system.
Yeah.
So hey, the low scoring part will be familiar.
Mission accomplished.
But that was more of an accidental thing than planned. But with Yo, it's a lot more of a, hey, we just don't want to give anything up.
Yeah, from the player's perspective, though, right, is like you've got a new voice in the locker room.
Yeah.
And sometimes, when a coach has been there for a long time, you start drowning that out. The other thing that you have, too, is there's players there that want to appease a new coach, kind of shine the light like, hey, I'm here, I can play. So you might get a little bit more out of the players, moving forward. Like you said, though. First night, kind of hard to do.
Especially
and on a Sega Baba.
Yeah, right, exactly.
They didn't even have morning skate today.
Yeah.
So you're like...
You're just going in
Yeah,
cold.
like Mike Yo's just going to roll behind the bench and be like, sup, fellas.
all right, boys, go out there and play.
Keep doing what you're doing. Just do it better, I guess, so that I don't also get fired.
The other side of that is, Blais, as you were talking about, yeah, when you get a new coach in, maybe it re-energizes some guys. You see some jump out of teams, but on the second game of back-to-back, dudes are going to gas themselves out if they try and show up and go hard from minute one. So
yeah, and that's where, like, this is your classic, like, if the Avs get on the board in the first, like, 7 or 8 minutes of the game.
Total pack-in mode.
Like, the fly, and if you can get on the board first, you can get to the first intermission with the lead, you're probably just working your way to 2 points at that point. And just because of how hockey goes and because of how back-to-backs are, that's how it is. It wouldn't matter who the coach is or any of that, But with especially like this really weird situation for the Fly, like you got a team when it's down. We keep talking about this. When a team is down, you don't want to be their launch pad to success.
Kick them while they're down.
Just don't solve any of their problems. Make them continue to feel bad about themselves and take the 2 points and move on. And let them figure it out. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
just get out of Dodge with 2 points and be like,
to this comment, the long-term effect of mid-season coaching changes, Pittsburgh won a cup when they changed their coach mid-season.
Twice.
So,
because they did it with Dan Bilesma back in the day.
Back in 09,
and Mike Sullivan. Yep. And then also Craig Berube in St. Louis. So, like, mid-season coaching changes have
result
worked
in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, and also look at Chicago right now. Like, we don't talk about them because they're the bottom of the. But they started out.
They're not
Arizona
horrifically
caliber,
bad anymore. Yeah.
and they're not now. And it's just like, okay, they're little. It's the new coach bump is a very real, like, weird phenomenon that for most teams doesn't last very long. The shine comes off pretty quick. We saw it worked with Mike Yeo in St. Louis when he first got there. He showed up and they were like 22-8 or something. Like they were awesome under him when he was the interim there. And then by year 3, he was gone. They were at the bottom of the league because he's really not a very good head coach.
I think there's almost something to that whole conversation where it turns out, NHL players are pretty good, and you can just get a coach that goes in there and can't really put in all the systems and says, hey, just go play the way you guys like to play.
Like put line combos together and put them in intelligent situations. The right guys on power plays, the right guys on PKs. Yo's problem as a coach is that he's just a grinder.
Yep.
He's one of those. He's kind of the Gerard Gallant, Ken Hitchcock. Like, he grinds you down, but he doesn't have the X's and O's to keep up in it. Like, a guy like Hitchcock lasted the way that he did because he was brilliant.
Outsmarted people left and right.
Like he adapted as the game was able to change, and he was able to whatever for. I mean, you don't last as a head coach for 25 years because you can't do it, right?
Yep.
Some of these other short-time guys that are only in places for 2 or 3 years at a time, it's because their players tune them out. They grind them. When you're a screamer all the time, eventually that screaming gets tuned out.
It just gets old,
Yeah.
At the end of the Patrick Waugh era, the Pavlovian response of him whistling was players eye rolling. That when he was no longer the players hated that by the end of his tenure. It was not well received. So there are certain things that coaches do that grind on players. It's why having a communicator like a guy like Bednar who excels at communicating. It's why their longevity is different. It's why John Cooper's longevity is different. And that's where Yo has really struggled as an NHL head coach, is that he grinds on his guys.
Well, when those guys yell, too, something's up. Right? The guys that communicate and aren't just yelling at the players constantly.
When it takes a lot to get them mad, right?
The players stand up and take note of that, like, oh, man. Like,
anybody that's watched a number of Avs practices over the Bednar's tenure knows that he's not shy or quiet during practice. He gets on them and he rides those guys most days. But it's not an in your face. It's a he's pushing pace. He wants people to play faster. He wants the energy to pick up a little bit. Creating good habits is basically the whole thing.
Okay. Let's talk about this debacle. We had enough problems with the reffing in the Avs game against Ottawa, and then this Leafs-Jets games happened last night where things got out of hand. We'll put it that way. AJ, I don't know where exactly you want to go with this.
You got star players like rodeoing each other, like
taking runs at players that are falling down onto the ice. I mean,
well, and then you have Leafs fans today on social media.
Oh man,
like totally unhinged behavior.
Yeah,
like advocating for, like they've already circled the date
that they
of
play
their rematch,
wanting 3-star players to go down.
P.S. Their rematch is like the end of March, so like
it's gonna be a minute.
Yeah, like see you then, fellas. Like this wasn't exactly Jokic and Markieff Morris, where they were like, these teams play again in 3 weeks. This is gonna be amazing. Like P.S. That wasn't either. Jokic shut the entire city of Miami up, which not that hard to do because it's a horrible sports town, but. It was incredibly funny to watch Toronto fans today just be like, we need stretchers. Wendell Clark needs to come out of retirement and show them what's up. Because if you're never not living in 30 years ago, you're not truly a Toronto Maple Leafs fan.
I think it's 60 years ago now for most Leafs fans.
Their glory days were players, not eras, because they've never had success.
Yeah.
So watching the reaction to that was really wild. But one of the things that I wanted to get into about this that I thought was interesting was in talking with Z last night. Obviously, she's a Jets fan, so she was like, what'd you think of all this? And, you know, we kind of came down on the sides that we came down on, but it was more like, she was like, if they just fought, if you have a problem with Neil Pionk, because Neil Pionk knees
Took a knee.
Rasmus Sandin,
Yeah.
and I thought it was a little predatory, and it doesn't get called.
Yep.
And the fact that it was uncalled in the game was absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah, the refing
It's
was terrible.
Clearly
Just-
a kneeing penalty.
But
he
there
was
was-
suspended for 2 games for it today. And Sandin avoided major injury. He's out 2 to 3 weeks. So all of this, it could have ended his career stuff from Toronto. Whoa. 2 to 3 weeks, fam.
It wasn't
tone down
a
the
good look.
temperature.
Like watching that play, it wasn't a good look because he
It's
could
a bad
totally
hit.
avoid it. Yeah.
It's a bad hit,
Yeah.
and there's no way. And the way that I put it to Z was, why is he doing this?
Yep.
Because the shot is already gone. It's already been. There's nothing puck related for him to be doing. He's doing it because he's just hitting him.
Yeah.
He just wants to get a
Sure,
piece of
but-
him, and he goes knee on knee. He's playing hard hockey. It's a dirty play. It's dangerous and it's
But-
reckless.
The question becomes, what's worse, that or the response?
Well, the response is clearly worse because
by a mile.
Because
But-
one, it's not something that happens in the heat of the moment. Jason Spezza comes flying off the bench and decides he's going after Neil Pionk. And then Neil Pionk puts himself in a vulnerable position just playing the game.
Yep.
And Spezza just is like,
blast
this-
through him anyway.
This
Yeah.
is the time.
Yeah.
You know, and this was bloody murder when Corey Perry accidentally did this to JT in the playoffs.
Yep.
This was the unholy of unholiest acts.
And
now,
when
you know,
Spezza did it on
Jason
purpose.
Spezza does
Yeah.
it purposefully. You're talking. It's,
I mean,
hey man, you're just protecting your players.
his
Hey, the refs are bad, so you got to take it's old
Yeah.
school justice, right? This is Old Testament stuff. You got to take it in your own hands, and it's like hockey has a thing in place that allows you to take matters into your own hands, where you skate over and you say, "Look, bitch, not cool. Drop the gloves. Let's fight."
Yeah.
They allow you to do that in hockey. That is its purpose. I think you have to be harsher on dudes who just decide to take it into their own hands when you already have, because if you're not going to have fighting be used for that,
then don't have it
because
at all.
the number one argument is you have to let players police themselves. And like, we're not like the biggest lovers of fighting in hockey.
Nope.
But we like where it is in the game. This was a great time for it to be like, you got to answer this bell. I mean, I almost to the second nailed Kadri against St. Louis
Yeah.
this year, having to answer for the Justin Falk thing.
Twice.
Now, the second fight I thought was a little absurd, but because it was Justin Falk himself, you were like, okay, I guess, whatever. But this is hockey's culture, is you fight when you do something like that, they pull you out of there and they make you stand up for you. You have to answer the bell.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Yep.
You're answering the bell. And there was none of that. There was no answering. Jason Spezza just decided he was going to try and hurt Neil Pionk.
Yeah, absolutely.
He
That's
was
what
just
it was.
he was pissed off. He saw the guy in a vulnerable position. He said, "The universe set me up. The universe put me in a position to take care of business." And you want to talk about what ifs? What ifs? With him driving his knee through Neil Pionk's forehead, could have been a whole lot worse than any knee on knee has ever been in the history of hockey.
Yep. And
Like,
this is
you're talking about, that could have been, I mean, we could
the
have
Avs
been.
are the team that watched Matt Cook knee Tyson Barrie. So.
Like, straight up.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen some awful
one was
knees.
bad.
We've seen some awful knees over time. But
Yeah.
that, I mean, you're talking, that could have been living in the fantasy world of what if. The potential for injury there, for serious injury, is so much higher than it is with Rasmus Sandin, and especially in the world where knee injuries are a thing that guys regularly get through now.
Neck injuries aren't.
Well, and neck and head injuries,
Yeah.
and they're completely unpredictable. Like, in the world of what if, Jason Spezza could have ended a dude's career last night.
Yep.
Much
way more than Neil Pionk could have ended.
exactly
Sandin.
with a knee on knee, and it's just so dangerous and so reckless. I'm glad it's going to be 5+. I think it's 5. I think it's going to be 5.
They got the in-person
Yeah.
hearing.
Yeah. So
I think it should be 10, but
Yeah, I mean, you and I have always advocated for
harsher punishments.
I mean, just
there, yeah.
just
Lower the
drilling,
boom, yeah.
drilling suspensions, because if you do that shit and a guy misses 10 games, they won't do it again.
Yeah.
They just won't. You do it for 2 games, and the guy's like, man, my wrist is sore.
Right.
So, it's just a little different. But I thought, a line brawl. And now because of the way that the rules are written, line brawls can't really happen the way that they used to. But if there was ever a game for one last night, just let him do it.
punch it out. Just punch it out.
You guys are just so mad, and instead of you guys dropping the gloves and handling this business, you guys just keep trying to play the game and going crazy on each other and doing wildly reckless shit.
And then
Just fight.
and Leafs stars getting into little fights here and there as well, like Austin Matthews having a little tussle on the ground.
I mean, like Dubois and Matthews getting into it, like. Both front offices are sitting there like, I love this and hate this.
Yeah.
I love that you're competing. I love that you care. I love that you're going after it. Oh my God, if either one of you gets hurt doing this nonsense.
Okay.
you're grounded.
Let's get to our betting really quick here. I feel like I always take safe bets, so I decided to change it up and go YOLO mode on this one.
Yeah, me too.
Eustace Annunen shutout is plus 900.
That's
Wow.
it.
Yeah,
That's-
I know it's that low, but I took it anyway.
I've got Abe Kubel anytime score.
I like it. I like it. Actually, I liked a lot of the anytime scores in this game.
Yeah.
Makar was like plus 340. Taves was plus 450. So
Just bet all the defense.
Jack Johnson's still 1,500.
Yeah, well, there's a reason for that. That he doesn't even like to throw pucks near the net.
Blais,
His
what do you got?
I got Rantanen with over 1.5 points.
Okay.
That's at plus 175. I also have Makar on shots on goal, which
Yeah, it
is
was
2.5
again.
and that's a plus 105. So,
But that at plus is like,
it's unreal. He
Yeah.
he hits it most nights. So
Yeah.
keep going there. I did do the over on goals scored, so thinking that it might be a high score.
not a shutout then.
Nope.
this would be a really funny one, like 1-0.
Yeah,
Where you're just
totally.
That's what's
like,
gonna happen now.
what the hell?
Martin Jones and Eustace Annunen just ball
Right,
out.
right. You're like, is this an AHL game? What the hell is happening?
And the last one I took was I did take the puck line for the Avs.
Yeah, I
Plus
felt pretty good
105,
about
yeah.
1.5
Yeah.
too for them on this one.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
I don't tend to take those.
I usually
unless
avoid them too,
unless
but-
I have like a real strong feeling about a game. But
Yeah.
tonight should be an uphill battle for the Flyers.
Yeah.
This really should be.
The Avs are on the upswing, getting guys back. Flyers are just in total
Disarray.
panic mode. Yeah,
And you never know, because like Philly has as much talent as it does, that on any given night where it comes together, you could just be like, holy shit.
yeah. If stuff
But,
just
like,
clicks for them,
They've lost 8 in a row. They fired their head coach.
Coming
They
off
can't-
a back-to-back.
They can't score, and they're on the second night of a back-to-back
Yeah.
against a team that's not. Like, if there was ever a scheduled loss,
Yeah.
it
would be this one for
should be
Philadelphia,
this one.
yeah.
Yeah. I would say without knowing how it turns out, any result that is the Avalanche walking out without 2 points is going to feel a bit
failure-y.
It's,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a disappointment. If they walk out with 0 points, it's gonna feel real bad.
It turns, if you don't win this one as the Avs, then the Rangers game almost becomes a must-win. It feels like for the road trip.
Yeah, for the sake of the road trip, yes, but also like you're starting to you want to start to put some distance between you and 500.
Yep.
And you're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Like you still need to start stringing wins together, especially on the road, because right now they're just doing this. They're 1-1-1. You want to see them kind of get back into, hey, let's put a couple of wins together.
Go 3-1 every 4
because
things like that.
they have what, 5 more road games this month.
That's a short stop at home before they
So
get
like,
back out there.
You
so.
want to see them find some mojo on the road.
All right, puck drop. 5-6 minutes away. We're going to get out of your hair for the pregame. We hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. We will be back post-game, so if you're subscribed, you'll see when we go live there. We hope to see you all there. Until then, we'll talk to you after the game.